Not the form. This is sort of like another dog form, like more dogs for a child. I feel like it just makes sense. Also, they have the same hair color. Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy, Jacob. Today, a new sort of update in Genshin Impact, not an update. The halfway point of patch 4.0. Fontaine, Childe.
I'm number
is
11
getting a
of the
rerun for
Fatui
the 18th
Harbingers,
time.
codenamed Childe.
And no, we're not talking about whether you should pull for Childe, whether or not Childe is good or bad. I thought it would be very interesting to say, if Childe was a Pokemon champion, what would his team be? So, we just gotta break it down a little bit so we get a baseline of understanding who Childe, Tartaglia, Ajax. His real name is Ajax, if you did not know. I forgot because that information was new to me as I was doing a little bit of research on this. Okay, so who is Childe? Childe is from Shazanaya. Frigid, cold. Childe, Ajax, when he was little, he ran away at 14, fell into a space void, met this woman in the abyss, and was trained for 3 months. 3 days went by in the real world, came back being warrior, fight. His personality kind of shifted. He was still very family oriented. He cares very much about his siblings, Tanya and Tusser. He causes a lot of hubbub wherever he is, so the Fatui Harbingers try to send him on missions away so he can cause mayhem other places. He is very dedicated to the craft of swordsmanship and fighting. He loves fighting, he loves a challenge, but he isn't really sort of like the outcome of the battle doesn't really matter to him. What matters is to him is that you learn from the experience. So he's great. But he's also always about getting stronger. Like, he does not want to sit at as the 11th Harbinger because it's ranked on strength. There's a quote of his, if it makes me stronger, I'll take it. Vision, great. Delusion, don't mind if I do. Heretical teachings from the abyss, sign me up. So, he is all about sort of himself. He's a little narcissistic, but he also cares about his family. So, he's got the best of both worlds. Anyway, so let's get to his team. What does his team look like? Oh, also should be important to note, Childe, Tartaglia, Ajax is a Hydro user with a Electro Delusion. His Childe's first Pokemon would be Bolton from Scarlet and Violet. No, Sword and Shield. Childe's first Pokemon would be Bolton, Electro Doggo. Childe to me gives very much sort of like Labrador energy. He's like kind of fun. You know he's a bad guy, but he's like good vibe, so people keep him around. Bolton's Pokédex entry is this Pokemon generates electricity and channels it into his legs to keep them going strong. Bolton can run non-stop for 3 full days. So he is always going. Childe is always sort of like moving on to the next thing. This feels like a very sort of good sort of Pokemon for... I could see him walking around the streets with little Bolton right behind him. Childe's second Pokemon is going to be Wailord. Childe's second Pokemon Master Childe, is going to have a Wailord. Wailord, obviously I got this sort of inspiration from his big whale that he summons when you fight him. Spoiler alert. But it's very much, it's like a memory that he has, and so that's where that's why he summons a whale. It's a touchstone to his home. He's internally, I feel like Childe is very grounded, so it is Wailord for Childe. Pokédex entry is when chasing prey, Wailord hurts them by leaping out of the water and making a humongous splash. It is breathtaking to see this Pokemon leaping out of the sea with others in its pod. So the humongous splash, Childe always makes sort of his presence known, unlike other Harbingers who kind of like to scheme and keep a low prof. Not Childe. Childe makes a big splash wherever he is. So, Wailord is taking number 2. Child's third Pokemon. Lycanroc, but the midday form. So this is not the form. This is sort of like another dog form, like more dogs for a child. I feel like it just makes sense. Also, they have the same hair color. So, but Lycanroc midday form, with swift movements, this Pokemon gradually backs its prey into a corner. Child is very skilled at many different styles of martial arts, so he can overpower his enemies. Lycanroc's fangs are always aimed toward opponents' weak spots. So Child, with his skills, can disarm opponents. He has the advantage majority of the time. So I think this is a great sort of Pokemon that kind of emulates sort of Child's like structure. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is Floatzel. Floatzel. I thought of Floatzel because of water, but also doing a little reading. Floatzel is common sight around fishing ports. It is known to rescue people and carry off prey. Child is very protective of his family. Child also, his favorite pastime, he would go ice fishing with his dad growing up. They would spend hours sort of like spending time together and fishing. Child goes fishing on his own now. And so I thought that was a good sort of touchstone. Also, Floatzels can be aggressive, are also kind of puppy dog-like as well. So like really the theme for Child's team is just like puppy. So yeah, Floatzel is number 4. Okay, number 5, Staraptor. Staraptor is the bird type, the beginning bird that you get in Platinum or Diamond and Pearl. Staraptor, very aggressive, very strong. Get those vibes from Child. It has a savage nature. It will courageously challenge foes that are much larger. So Child, one of his sort of entries in his sort of background is he went deep in the abyss. He saw the biggest sort of beast, and he said, one day I will come back and slay that beast. So Child is always not afraid of a challenge. He will go head first and like kind of his best with his skills. And then, like I said earlier, he's not so much about the outcome, but what you learn from the experience. So, Staraptor is his 5th Pokemon. And for Child's ace in the hole, Scizor. Scizor has a body with the hardness of steel. It is not easily fazed by ordinary sorts of attacks. This Pokemon flaps its wings to regulate its body temperature. I think this is a great sort of staple for Child. They're both gingers too, so. But I think Scizor is sort of aggressive. Scizor though has like a sort of, I feel like he has sort of maturity, he has skills, like he has honed his sort of fighting prowess as Steel Bug. And then the one thing that stuck out to me is not phased by ordinary attacks. So that showed me that Scizor is very skilled, Child is very skilled. I think together they could tag team and take over the world as Child wants to do. Which is because Child beat Cray. So, that is Child's team. Do you think you could beat Child and his Pokemon team? It's very swift. He's got a couple coverages, so to cover weaknesses. But do you think you could beat Tartaglia as the final battle to become Pokemon champion? Alright, if you like this video, leave a like or subscribe if you want to. You know, you make your own choices here. No pressure. But it does help me out. I play Genshin Impact on Twitch at Mariac. Link is down below. Have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you're viewing my face from. And I will catch you on the flippy dippy. Bye!